I stared at the email in disbelief, my coffee growing cold beside my keyboard. The largest contract of my career, gone. Stolen by my own brother. "I'm sorry, Sarah," the message read. But Michael made a compelling case for why Aerotech should work with his team instead. His connections with our board members were persuasive. I should have known better. I should have seen it coming. But I never thought my own brother would stoop so low. "I'm Sarah Mitchell, founder of Mitchell Innovation Labs, and this is how my brother's betrayal led to the greatest revelation of his life." The funny thing about betrayal is how quiet it can be. No dramatic music, no warning signs. Just a simple email on a Tuesday morning telling me that the $50 million contract I'd spent 6 months negotiating had suddenly gone to my brother's consulting firm. My phone buzzed. Speaking of the devil. "Hey sis," Michael's voice dripped with fake sympathy. "Heard about Aerotech. Tough break, but you know how business goes. May the best man win." I gripped my phone tighter. "Cut the act, Michael. I know what you did. You went behind my back to their board members." He laughed. "Oh, come on. Don't be such a sore loser. I just played the game better. Besides, everyone knows Mitchell Consulting Group has more resources, better connections. What can your little startup offer compared to that?" Mitchell Consulting Group. Our father's company, now run by Michael. The legitimate family business, as our father called it. The one I'd refused to join 5 years ago when I started my own firm. "Those were my designs, Michael. My innovation strategy. You can't just." "Can't what?" He cut in. "Can't use my connections. Can't convince a client to make a smarter choice. Face it, Sarah. You're out of your league. Always have been." I closed my eyes, remembering all the times he pulled stunts like this. Taking credit for my ideas in college. Undermining my projects at my first job. Always with that same smug certainty that he deserved whatever he took. "The signing ceremony is Thursday," he continued. "Don't worry, I won't tell anyone how close you came to landing this. Wouldn't want to embarrass you." I ended the call without responding. My hands were shaking, but not from anger, from anticipation. Because there was something Michael didn't know, something no one knew except my most trusted advisors. I opened my laptop and clicked through to a secure folder. Inside was a document I'd been saving for the right moment, proof of every underhanded tactic, every stolen idea, every backroom deal Michael had made over the past 3 years. More importantly, it contained proof of something that would shake Mitchell Consulting Group to its core. My phone buzzed again, this time a text from David Chen, CEO of Aerotech. "Sarah, everything proceeding as discussed. Is M taking the bait?" I smiled, typing back, hook, line, and sinker. You see, Michael wasn't the only one who could play the long game. For the past year, I've been quietly building something much bigger than a single contract. Something that would change everything. My assistant Lisa knocked on my office door. "The board members are ready for your call." I nodded, straightening my jacket, put them through to the conference room. The large screen lit up, revealing 5 serious faces. The secret board of directors of Nova Holdings, a shell company that had been systematically acquiring shares of Mitchell Consulting Group through various subsidiaries. Ms. Mitchell, the head of the board, nodded. "The final transfers are complete. As of 9 a.m. this morning, Nova Holdings owns 51% of Mitchell Consulting Group." I felt a small smile tug at my lips. "And the paperwork?" "All in order. Your identity as Nova's owner has been carefully concealed. As far as anyone knows, Nova is just another investment firm." I looked at the org chart on my wall, the real one, showing how my little startup was actually the center of a web of companies that now controlled my father's empire. "Excellent. Maintain position until Thursday. I want to be there when my brother signs that contract." "Sarah," one of the board members leaned forward. "Are you sure about this? Once we reveal Nova's ownership." Michael made his choice. I cut in. He chose to steal what he thought was my biggest contract. Now he gets to learn that it wasn't just the contract he should have worried about. After the call ended, I walked to my window, looking out at the Seattle skyline. 5 years ago, when I left Mitchell Consulting Group, my father had sneered that I'd never succeed on my own. Michael had laughed, certain I'd come crawling back. Instead, I built something they never saw coming. While they focused on stealing my contracts and undermining my projects, I was quietly buying up their company through a maze of shell corporations and investment firms. My phone buzzed with another text from Michael. By the way, after I signed the Aerotech contract, the board is considering acquiring your little company. You know, to save you from yourself. Just looking out for my baby sister. I didn't respond. Let him gloat. Let him think he'd won. Thursday would come soon enough. Lisa appeared at my door again. Your 2 p.m. is here. The Aerotech implementation team. I nodded. Send them in. And Lisa? Make sure everything is ready for Thursday. I want the signing ceremony to be memorable. The next 2 days passed in a blur of preparation. Michael sent more gloating texts, each one more condescending than the last. Our father called, suggesting I should be graceful about losing the contract and maybe consider coming back to the family business. If they only knew. I kept checking the secure folder on my laptop. Inside was evidence of every questionable deal Michael had made, every corner he'd cut, every regulation he'd skirted. Not enough to cause legal troubles. I didn't want to destroy the company after all, but more than enough to justify a change in leadership once Nova Holdings revealed its ownership. Wednesday night, I sat in my office late, reviewing everything one last time. The contract Michael thought he'd stolen, the ownership documents for Nova Holdings, the board resolutions that would be revealed tomorrow. My phone buzzed one last time. Michael again. Get some sleep, sis. Tomorrow's a big day, for me anyway. I looked at my reflection in the darkened window, thinking of all the times Michael had taken what was mine, certain that his position as our father's heir made him untouchable. Yes, I whispered to my reflection. Tomorrow is definitely going to be a big day. Thursday morning dawned bright and clear. I dressed carefully in my best power suit, not for the photos, but for the memories I wanted to preserve of this day. The signing ceremony was being held in Aerotech's main conference room, a gleaming space with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking downtown Seattle. By 9 a.m., the room was filled with executives, board members, and media representatives. A historic contract signing, they thought. If only they knew. I arrived early, taking a seat at the back of the room. Michael strutted in 20 minutes later, radiating smugness in his custom Italian suit. He faltered slightly when he saw me but quickly recovered, throwing me a condescending smile. Sarah, didn't expect to see you here. Come to watch how the big leagues operate. Wouldn't miss it for the world, I replied calmly. Our father arrived next, making a beeline for Michael. Son, this is your moment. The biggest contract in company history. Neither of them spared me a glance. Perfect. At exactly 10 a.m., David Chen, CEO of Aerotech, stepped up to the podium. Thank you all for coming. Today marks a historic partnership between Aerotech and Mitchell Consulting Group. But before we sign, there are some corporate governance matters to address. Michael shifted impatiently in his seat. This wasn't part of the planned agenda. As you may know, David continued, recent market activities have led to some changes in Mitchell Consulting Group's ownership structure. I'd like to invite the representative from Nova Holdings to speak. The room burst into confused whispers. Michael's head snapped up. What? What changes? I stood up, smoothing my jacket as I walked to the podium. Michael's face went from confused to shocked to pale as I took my place at the microphone. Thank you, David. For those who don't know me, I'm Sarah Mitchell, CEO of Mitchell Innovation Labs. I'm also the owner and chairperson of Nova Holdings. The whispers grew louder. Michael jumped to his feet. This is ridiculous. Nova Holdings is just an investment firm that owns 51% of Mitchell Consulting Group's shares. I finished for him. Through a series of carefully structured acquisitions over the past year, Nova Holdings has become the majority shareholder of your company, Michael. Our father's face had turned an interesting shade of purple. This is impossible. I clicked a button, bringing up detailed ownership diagrams on the presentation screen. It's not only possible, it's done. The paperwork was finalized Tuesday morning, which means, I turned to Michael, you don't have the authority to sign this contract. You can't do this, Michael sputtered. The board won't stand for it. Actually, David Chen stepped forward. The board has already approved these changes. Sarah showed us evidence of some concerning business practices under your leadership. I opened my laptop, displaying a folder labeled Michael's Greatest Hits. Backdoor deals, stolen proposals, illegal bid interference. Nothing major enough for criminal charges, but more than enough to justify new management. The room had gone deadly quiet. Everyone was watching the family drama unfold like a high-stakes tennis match. "You planned this?" Michael accused, his voice shaking. "You let me think I'd stolen your contract." "No, Michael, you did steal my contract. You just didn't realize that the contract wasn't the real prize." I smiled. "You were so busy trying to take what was mine that you never noticed me taking everything that was yours." "This is outrageous." Our father stood up. "I'll fight this." "With what evidence?" I asked calmly. "The shares were all purchased legally on the open market. Nova Holdings is a legitimate investment firm. Everything is properly documented and board approved." I paused. "Or would you like me to share the evidence of how you've been handling the company's offshore accounts?" He sat down abruptly. "Now then," I turned back to the audience. "Let's proceed with the real signing ceremony." I nodded to my assistant, who brought forward a new contract. Aerotech will be working with Mitchell Innovation Labs as originally planned. Mitchell Consulting Group will be undergoing some restructuring. "You can't just take my company," Michael shouted. "Our company," I corrected, "and I already have. But don't worry, you can keep your job. Junior analyst seems about right for your actual qualifications." The next hour was a blur of signatures, photographs, and press statements. Michael stormed out halfway through, our father trailing behind him. I didn't care. I was too busy watching my real plan come together. By evening, the news had spread through the business world. Sarah Mitchell, the little sister who'd started her own company rather than join the family business, now controlled one of the largest consulting firms in the country. I sat in my office, my new office in the Mitchell Consulting Group building, looking at the city lights. My phone had been buzzing nonstop with messages from family members, business associates, and reporters. I ignored them all except one. "Congratulations," David Chen's text read. "Your brother never saw it coming." I smiled, remembering Michael's smug face when he thought he'd stolen my contract. He'd been so focused on the small prize that he'd missed the bigger game entirely. My assistant knocked on the door. "Your brother is here. Says he needs to talk to you." I looked at the org chart on my wall. The real one this time, showing both companies under my leadership. "Send him in. And Linda? Have security on standby." Michael slunk in, his earlier arrogance completely deflated. "Sarah, please, we can work something out. I'm your brother." "Funny," I replied, not looking up from my computer. "You didn't seem to care about that when you were stealing my contracts." "That was business. This is different." Now I did look up. "No, Michael. This is business too. The difference is I played it better." I pushed a folder across the desk. "Here's your new contract. Junior analyst position, starting Monday. Standard probationary period." He stared at the folder like it might bite him. "You're not serious." "Dead serious. Take it or leave it. But remember, your other option is trying to find a job after being fired for ethical violations." I smiled. "Your choice." After he left, clutching the folder like a life preserver, I walked to the window. 5 years ago, I walked away from this building, determined to build something of my own. My father and brother had laughed, certain I'd fail. Instead, I built something bigger than they'd ever imagined. Something they never saw coming because they were too busy underestimating me. My phone buzzed one last time, a text from Michael. "I hope you're happy. You've destroyed our family." I typed back a single response. "No, Michael. I just showed you what it feels like to have something stolen by family. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just winning, it's making sure they understand exactly why they lost."